Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. And this bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damongo, Jubilee FM in Keta, and Sunshine FM in Boko. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, SuperSem, Cement, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G, just a touch. In this edition, government to compel tertiary institutions, including all universities, compel to operationalize their anti-sexual harassment policies or face possible revocation of the accreditation.
Compelling every university, public and private, so long as they are being considered for accreditation, to have such a policy, not just have such a policy, but to operationalize it.
We'll hear from Minister of State in charge of tertiary education as more victims share their experiences in the wake of the BBC Sex for Grades expose.
His foot was just rising up my right leg, then went above the knee, and I quickly pushed and I asked him, why was he doing that? Then he asked me to calm down. And then he even asked if I'm a child and why am I overreacting. I was very disappointed.
We have more on that as an HR expert calls for more education for boys and men. Also in this edition, founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atuesian, and 3 others charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the bank in 2017. Now, teacher unions demand the total withdrawal of 3 educational bills laid before Parliament as they accuse the Education Ministry and government of preventing them from making inputs.
We are asking the Speaker of Parliament to suspend all discussions on the 3 bills that are before him until we have been given documents and we have also made our inputs. Anything short of that will create problems.
In the Joy Clean Ghana campaign today, millers at the Makola markets comply with directive by AMA sanitation inspectors to clean up.
I think you can see that we are making headway and results. We are getting results. See the place. It has been flowed and tied very well.
We are live from Makola. Also, President Akufo-Addo begins tour of what has come to be known as the NPP's World Bank. We'll hear from residents of Kumasi on the expectations from the government.
I'm expecting that the bad rules and all the rules are very bad indeed. Never saw any airplane
water bill, light bill, concentration.
Sports.
Exchange of ideas, restoring and reforming, igniting passion and creating wealth has been the order in the race of the FA elections. We'll hear from a presidential candidate who has been impressed with the passion shown by all candidates to get football back.
And later, Nowhere Cool, the story of the over thousands braving harsh weather as homeless people in the United States, the world's leading superpower.
It's hard to maintain stability when you're homeless and living on the street.
But what lessons can Ghana learn from how America treats its homeless? So that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story, Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, has indicated tertiary institutions requiring re-accreditation must show they are implementing their anti-sexual harassment policies. This has become necessary after a BBC documentary, Sex for Grades, showed 2 lecturers at the University of Ghana soliciting favours from 2 female students. One of the lecturers, Professor Ransford Jampel, has indicated he would sue the BBC, although the station insists it stands by its work. The University of Ghana has interdicted the 2 lecturers whilst a committee probes the matter. Professor Yanka says the enforcement of the requirement is part of measures being put in place to address such cases.
We now have a tertiary education policy document, which for the first time we are having in several years now. And there's a whole section on sexual harassment compelling every university, public and private, so long as they are being considered for accreditation, to have such a policy, not just have such a policy, but to operationalize such a policy. And this has been used as one of the criteria to be considered by the regulatory body in determining whether to re-accredit a university. We are going to effectively ensure the effective implementation of the policy, along with all the penalties and sanctions that are available to be applied when there are any infractions.
Now, he asked the documentary has a tendency of stereotyping the University of Ghana, preventing foreign students from enrolling.
UG, clearly one of the best in West Africa. Just imagine that on the basis of the documentary alone, you have our top universities virtually decapitated. It will be very bad news, but it doesn't mean we should ignore the fallout of this. We should be constantly reminded that these are some of the criteria that international students who would have liked to come to Legon or UNILAG would normally use in determining whether or not to consider enrolling here. It doesn't make our already bad image out there any better.
Professor Kwesi Yankah is the Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, but Professor Akosua Dumakwampofo with the Africa and Gender Studies Department of the University of Ghana disagrees.
When you watch the quote-unquote foreign media, you do often get the sense that we hear more of the stereotypical depictions of, let's say, the Africa, the other world. But I think at this point, that should not be the focus of our attention, and we should confront the problem that sits in front of us. So stereotypical or not, this is a reality. We need to deal with it, and that's what we should look at. So yes, there are stereotypical stories, but let's deal with our situation and solve it as much as we can.
Well, as the issue continues to rage, more people are coming out to tell their stories. One of them spoke on the Super Morning Show.
He was a top lecturer in economics, and I went to see him for an interview. I was then working with Radio Universe on campus. I got to his office, and he was very welcoming. He had pictures of his family, his wife, his children around, and then even gave me a book on chastity. So I was very comfortable with him. So he even told me there was an upcoming event and he was hoping to see me there. So my editor sent me for that event as expected. So during the lunch break, I was sitting at the table with him. We were about 10 on the table. I realized somebody's feet was just touching mine. I thought it was just accidental, so I shifted. But then I realized it was so persistent. The other people sitting on the table finished eating and then they got up and left. Then I realized that it was the man who was hitting me with his feet. His foot was just rising up my right leg. It got to my knee, then went above the knee. And I quickly pushed and I asked him, why was he doing that? Then he asked me to calm down. And then he even asked if I'm a child and why am I overreacting. And at that moment, I was very disappointed. I didn't expect it from him. He mentioned he was an elder. So I was very disappointed, very disappointed.
You heard there somebody, a victim who has been speaking on the Super Morning Show. Another victim shared a telephone conversation she had with a Tamale-based lecturer. Listen.
So tell me about the dream.
I wish it were real. I wish it were not a dream, it were real.
Okay.
I dreamed that you came to my house.
Sir?
And you were preparing food for us to eat.
I see.
I was in the kitchen and helping you. When we finished, we went to bath.
Wow,
and we
nice
carried
dream.
In fact, then you were in the bathroom and I brought some of the food and the two of us were eating the food under the shower.
That's nice.
Yeah, I just opened my eyes and realized I was lying in the room alone. I wish it were real.
Okay, I've heard you.
So when you come, let it come to pass, okay?
Well, human resource expert Senor Jabeng is calling for more education for boys and men as a way of addressing the problem.
It's important for us to admit that a lot of us guys are walking around possibly harassing people and we are not aware. And that is why Neil would say, if you propose to a girl, are you harassing her or can she accuse you of harassment? It depends on how it is done. So we need to draw the line to say that you can approach a girl. And you see, we need to be taught as guys. I was thinking about this and I'm like, we for the past 20 years or so, and I think Dinah would attest to that, we have focused more on the girl child. And then we left out the boys. And for example, we've not taught the boys how ethical it is and how appropriate it is to approach a lady you are interested in. So for many people, now it's about pressure. When you want a woman and she keeps saying no, keep putting pressure and she may say yes. And it is that pressure that becomes the harassment.
Now, let's stay a while longer on this issue because Gender Minister Cynthia Morrison has condemned all forms of sexual harassment meted out against women. Speaking at the Meet the Press series in Accra, the minister says the incident recorded at the University of Ghana is wrong.
We all know it is not a good thing. For both boys and girls, it is wrong. Not only in the universities, everywhere. Even in this room. A man shakes you and scratches your hand. What does that mean? He sees you and hits your back. What does that mean? You cannot do that to men when we meet them. So everywhere it happens, whether in the classroom, whether in the office, whether at home or anywhere, it is wrong. So I will not only concentrate on what happened in the universities, even in the media. If you're here and you're a man and you've hit somebody's back before, it's wrong. If you scratch your hand, it is wrong. So starting from the media and all of us, our boys and our husbands and everything, we are speaking to the whole country, the whole world. It is wrong to do that. If you are interested in a girl, propose to her. If she likes it, she will accept. If she doesn't like it, she goes away and you go away. You go and look for another one. So harassment is for the gentleman who are starting from you and to all of men. It is wrong. The ladies are in here the clap.
You heard the Minister for Gender and Women's Affairs. That's Cynthia Morrison at a Meet the Press series a while ago. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll head to the court shortly, where founder of Defunct Capital Bank, William Matuesian, and 3 others have been charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the bank in 2017. But let's head on to the education front now, because some teacher unions, including the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAD, Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, Tertiary Education Workers Union, TEU, and Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Ghana, are demanding the immediate withdrawal of 3 educational bills which are currently before Parliament in what they claim is a deliberate move by the government to exclude them from policy engagement surrounding the bills. The Pre-Tertiary Education Bill 2019, Educational Regulatory Bill 2019, and the Complementary Education Bill 2019 have been submitted to the Education Committee for consideration and subsequent report laid before the House when they resume. According to these teacher unions, they are yet to see the bills and ask that copies are made available to them for study and required inputs. The leadership of the teacher unions added that they will advise themselves if government ignores their request. You can listen to Philippa Larson, president of NAT.
The attention of the unions has been drawn to the bills, all of which have been laid before Parliament without inputs from or engagement with the unions. We find this inimical to the ILO UNESCO recommendations concerning the status of teachers in 1966, which encourages social dialogue. The stance of the Ministry of Education is again against the spirit and the letter of our 2009 collective agreement with the Ghana Education Service, as well as the Labour Act 2003, Act 651. We are asking the Speaker of Parliament to suspend all discussions on the 3 bills that are before him until we have been given documents and we have also made our inputs. Until then, or anything short of that anything short of that will create problems. We have not cited the documents. I know there are 3 bills before Parliament now. The Pre-Tertiary Education Bill of 2019, Education Regulatory Bill of 2019, and the Complementary Education Bill also of 2019. We have not cited the document yet, and so we don't even have details. We don't know what are enshrined in the document, and so we cannot make any specific details and mention anything. That is why we are requesting for the documents to be given to us. We'll look at the documents and make the necessary input. Anything short of that will create problems for all of us.
So you heard that Philippa Larson is the president of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Whilst we try to speak to the Education Ministry, let's head on to Parliament and speak to the ranking member of the Education Committee, Peter Nochukotoy. He joins us live. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So teacher unions have concerns about these 3 bills, the Pre-Tertiary Education Bill, the Education Regulatory Bill, and the Complementary Education Bill, amongst others. But what exactly is the status of these 3 bills, you know?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon to your listeners. Yeah, a number of bills have been laid by the Minister for Education before Parliament concerning education and then referred to the Committee on Education. As part of our engagement, what we normally do is we publish it on our parliamentary website and then request for memorandum from interested persons and organizations. we received a number of them before we went into the consideration stage a month ago. So a while ago, about 2 weeks ago, I received a call from NAGRAT about the bill, especially the free tertiary bill, and I told you, yes, we had sat on it and made a number of recommendations for amendments to the bill as presented to Parliament. So he told me they had not been engaged as stakeholders in the formulation of the bill. So what is to be done for them or by them is to make a representation to the Speaker on it, and then that will be referred to the committee for consideration. So at our level, we have sat on the bill with our proposed amendments, but that does not mean there's a closed door to it. They still have the opportunity to make their representations known to Speaker and to refer to the committee, and we'll take it from there.
So what you're saying is that there's still hope for these teacher unions. All doors are not closed yet on the amendment of these three particular bills.
Yeah, we did not receive any proposals or memorandum from any teacher union as far as I'm concerned, because if there was anything like that, the clerk to the committee would have given me a copy. So we did not receive any presentation. But I'm saying that they said they had not been involved by the Ministry of Education in the process to come out with the pre-tertiary bill and then the Educational Regulatory Authorities bill, and then the complementary. For the complementary education bill, we are yet to look at it as a committee. So we have not touched that one at all. So they still have the opportunity to present their opinions here.
We are grateful for your time. That's the ranking member of the Education Committee, Peter Nochu Kotoy. Subsequently, we'll get more on this. But let's head to the court now. And like I said, founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atuesian, and 3 others have been charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the bank in 2017. Joint News editor Fifi Kumsin joins me in studio with details of the charge sheets. Fifi, tell us, who are the other 3 persons?
So we have Atuesian William, Tete Nete, Fidra Dodonko, who was at some point the CEO of the bank. Then Kate Kwoti Papafio.
She's the CEO of Leroy Group of
Absolutely.
Companies.
And there are 26 counts. Now, let's go through a few of the counts right now. One is conspiracy to steal, contrary to sections 23(1) and 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. And it says the particulars of offence: 1. William Atuesian. 2. Tete Nete. Between October and November 2015, in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, agreed to act together with a common purpose to steal the sum of 100 million Ghana cedis, the property of Capital Bank Limited. Count 2, statement of offence, abetment. And that's also very interesting. It also has to do with the same abetment of crime, namely stealing contrary to sections 21 and 124 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. And then particulars of offence: Fidra Dodonko between October and November 2015 in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, abetted William Atuesian and Tete Nete to dishonestly appropriate the sum of 100 million Ghana cedis, the property of Capital Bank Limited. And it goes on to the 26th count here, if you can see it there. And all of these are charges that these 4 people are facing.
Okay, so there are portions that also mentions the others. For instance, Kate Kwoti Papafio and then Fitzgerald Odonko. Particulars of offence for count 21, for instance, is also abetment of crime, namely stealing, contrary to sections 21 and 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Now, for count 25 also, is also stealing to contrary to section 124 of the Criminal Offences Act. They've also talked about money laundering in count 26, for instance. It says money laundering contrary to section 1(1)(c) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2008, Act 748. And the particulars of offence there says that William Atuesian, Kate Kwoti Papafio, between June and August 2017 in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, disguised the sum of 70 million, knowing it to be proceeds of crime. And that's all some of the crimes or the counts and the charges on that charge sheet, Fifi. So we know that they are in court as we speak. Our court correspondent, Joseph Akable
is there and will be bringing us the very latest on this.
Okay, so if you just missed it or you just tuned in, founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atuesian, together with Tete Nete, Fitzgerald Donko and Kate Kwote Papafio have been charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the Capital Bank in 2017. We'll get details of that shortly when our court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us from the court. But let's do some sanitation stories at this point because it's day 6 of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign. You remember that last week we were in Makola and some millers at the Makola markets were directed by the AMA sanitation inspectors to improve conditions around their mills, and we are told today that they've all complied. A return to the facilities this morning are part of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign review. The mills which used to be run in unhygienic conditions are now being operated in a clean environment. Here's Inspector Joseph Asitanga interacting with the millers.
And we are to inspect to see the others we added them to do. We asked them to improve upon their production premises by painting, by flooring, cementing the floors. So we are here this morning to follow up through all that we did last week to see whether there is compliance or not. If any of them do not comply, then we'll now take the person on with immediate effect. So we can have a look at how it was previously. You see that the day we came, the floor was dusty, it wasn't cemented. The walls were very dirty with potholes all over. The wires were exposed. You can see that they floored the floor, they've painted the place, the wires have been taken care of. And is the service provider, let me call him service provider, he's supposed to have been in his protective clothing, which he is not in. We told you to get some protective clothing. Where is that? Your master did what? So tomorrow, if you come here without protective clothing, we'll come and stop you. You hear? Yeah. Have you heard us? See us here. If you see me, you know that I'm coming to work. You don't wear this dirty thing and come and grind meal things for people to buy. Okay? So from today, ensure that you get proper protective clothing and then you continue your mailing here.
So that's the interaction between Mr. Joseph Asitanga and the millers at Makola. It looks like we have some good news. Nancy will join us shortly to give us details about all the good news that we have for today in terms of the sanitation inspection and the Joy Clean Ghana campaign. But they've been also telling us about how they're achieving results.
And so that you do the thing we're talking of, the health card, your protective clothing, and so that you undergo all that to get yourself fit for your work that you do here. Okay. All right.
Once a high one say first no and make to see a difference when the room.
Is it a difference? Is it a higher clean?
And I want to say a high and my office.
Oh, Pachoy.
To make it clean the year.
Every day, keep it.
I think you can see that we are making headway and results. We are getting results. See the place. It has been floored and tied very well. It reduces contamination, whatever they produce here. And I'm sure he's the guy who did are you the one who did the painting?
Yes,
so you are still painting?
No, I have finished.
And then you are using your paint trouser to mill your pepper and whatever.
Joseph Asitanga there interacting with some millers at Makola. The Midday News, you're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. Our top story in this edition, founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atuesian, and 3 others have been charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the bank in 2017. And still to come, President Akufo-Addo begins tour of what has come to be known as the NPP's World Bank. We'll hear from residents of Kumasi on the expectations of the government.
The rules are very bad indeed.
Water bill, light bill,
Ghana, so we correct maize in bar. And you make us super. Me a super maize in Ankasa. Because our job no and yet better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only Super Sam cement at the use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa. Interact. Me cries in from because it's super. Because me the Super Sam cement and DVD.
Super Sam cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Sam cement. Build your dream. Your dream. Build.
Let's do sports now with Benedict Owusu.
Yes, it's all about the Ghana Football Association elections, and presidential candidate Fred Papo will launch his manifesto tomorrow, and that will look at the 5 hours. That's how he's termed it, 5 hours, which are reviving, redeeming, restoring, and repairing. Papo will become the 5th person to outdoor his manifesto after Kurt Nanaya Opama and George Efie. Kurt Okuku has been impressed with the challenge of ideas ahead of the polls.
This is very, very healthy for Ghanaian football. This is the first time, perhaps, that we have an extensive challenge of ideas, okay? This is the first time we all have to think and we have to compete in a very good spirit, for which reason I say kudos to everybody who's been part of this amazing story. Having said that, we are the game-changing team.
So that's presidential candidate Kurt Okuku. A lot of things actually are going on in relation to the GFA elections. Currently, as I speak to you, there is a debate involving all candidates for the Greater Accra Regional Association chairmanship position at the Accra Stadium. And it's also really getting hot in terms of the reason, the issue with Wilfred Osei Kukupame's disqualification. Well, join us on Sports Today at 2 on TV. That's Joy News Channel for more on the FA elections.
Thank you very much, Benedict. What's 1 million here? Now, renovation of dilapidated roads and the reduction of utility tariffs. Those are some of the demands residents of the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, are making as President Akufo-Addo makes a stop there as part of his 3-region tour. The tour, which began in the Bono region, is expected to end in the Eastern region. In the Ashanti region, the President is scheduled to inspect some projects and meet with traditional leaders. Ahead of his visit, we engaged some residents on their expectations.
For me, I want the President to fix our road. The state of our road is very bad. I'm pleading on him to attend to our road.
My message to the president is that our roads are bad, so we beg him that he should repair our roads for us.
The free SHS is good, but looking at the way things are going, it's kind of getting offhand. Problems with placement. We are begging the president, now that he's in Ashanti region, he should put his feet down on some things and make sure that the right things, what the people are crying for, those things are met. Not what some people think, oh, this is good for our party. If our roads are bad, they should simply do it for us. This shouldn't be party politics thing. These things are things that will be beneficial to the very people that he will be campaigning to vote for.
Some residents of Kumasi, as we speak, the president is meeting with the Ashanti Regional Security Council. We'll be following that meeting and bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Now, homelessness is a big problem in Ghana, as over 100,000 people sleep rough on the streets and in shacks. But it appears this problem is not limited to Ghana. In the United States of America, which many describe as a land flowing with milk and honey, hundreds of thousands of people are without shelter. Unlike Ghana, however, there appears to be a good safety net for the homeless in America. Joy News' Justice Bedo reports from Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, the city of angels, America's second largest and richest city. Here, the American dream of prosperity and equal opportunities for all looks within a touching distance. In the shadows of its skyline, though, lies one of its dirty little secrets, Skid Row, a street where thousands of the city's homeless and destitute live in squalor, begging for food and money, braving the harsh winter weather.
My name is Tiwana Hillard. I'm 51 years old. I was ostracized and displaced by my family since I was 13 years old.
Tiwana Hillard lives at the Midnight Mission, a care home for the homeless and hungry. She is one of the thousands who live here, surviving on food banks.
It's hard to maintain stability when you're homeless and living on the street or out of a tent.
California, which is home to some of the world's multi-billion tech giants like Google, Apple, and Facebook, is also home to 120,000 homeless people.
Joy News award-winning journalist Justice Bedu, and he just returned from a Press Partners Fellowship at the Los Angeles. Now, it's our Breast Cancer Minute series, and today we're talking alcohol and its linked to breast cancer. So if you're a woman and a heavy drinker, you need to listen to this from Dr. Yah Echabwating.
Alcohol drinking and alcohol stimulates estrogen production.
Okay.
Yes. So the more you drink, the more your estrogen and the more your risk.
Okay.
It's been estimated that people who drink, women who drink at least 3 drinks a week, have a 15% increase chance of getting breast cancer.
Okay.
And this is something we can work on.
Right. And these days the women are drinking good for books.
I tell you.
Right?
So you've been warned, reduce your intake to reduce your risk of getting breast cancer. And that's just about it. And it's our Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And on the Cosmopolitan Mix, they will be having a breast screening on Friday as well. Join Mama Viowusu Abwaji for all the tips when it comes to breast cancer in the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Top story, founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atwesian, together with 3 others, have been charged with 26 offences leading to the collapse of the bank in 2017. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Thanks so much for your company. I am MF Apple.